said in a short time, right? Let's put our hands together for Cassandra Omamomo, please. As I said, I want us to make the most, and I want us all to be here for the open conversation. So I'm stirring us there quickly. Praise God. Again, praise the Lord. All right, let's sit down. Let's sit down. So I would bring to the rostrum very quickly someone who I met in that same year, 2016, moving around from one event to the other. And I met Charles. You know, Charles Freeborn is or was at the time primarily a tech writer. I was very impressed to see someone from here who was writing internationally about tech and running tech commentaries. Today he's doing bigger things, currently about to host a hackathon. Please put your hands together for Charles Freeborn. So he would come speak as to how, you know, he did something here in our church, used our church as venue last year, I was very impressed. Please come, please come. You know how that they say Yahoo boys don't take over the town. So in last year, he used our church for his Google event. And I saw a lot of young people. They are all in the legit tech world, learning how to code, UI, UX, and the community was so large. And it brought hope to me because it looked like Yahoo boys don't take over. To see that large market of people doing something in tech, in the legit, I was super impressed. So please help me celebrate Charles Freeborn.
Hello, everyone. All right, so a quick disclaimer. I speak at different conferences, but it seems like I'm a bit nervous today. All right. Okay. All right, so why are you setting this up? I want to first begin by expressing my profound gratitude to Pastor Warri and the members of Mysaltcity. And I also want to say it's a great honor to actually be on the same flyer with Mr. Jollof. Let's give Mr. Jollof a big hand. He may not know it, but during the NSAS protest, I actually struggled to have a selfie with Mr. Jollof at roundabout then. He was actually on a black kind of sleeveless and the Nigerian flag. So I'm a big fan, and it's such a great honor to actually be on the same platform with you. And thank you very much for all that you do in the city of Warri. So a little bit of background. So I'm going to be talking on building the new image and economy of Warri using tech. Under that disclaimer, the topic was given to me by the team from Mysaltcity, so I don't like very long topics, right? So I actually had to break it down. So because of the time constraints, we're going to be looking at three major things. So you can you all see my slides? I want to be sure. All right. So we're going to be covering three things. Number one, building effective tech communities in Warri, harnessing global trends, and then how we can build tech startups in Warri. Mr. Shegun actually stole my slide, even though I didn't share it. Or rather, he stole a quote from one of my slides. All right, so which is like, if you want to go far, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, you go together, right? So they said it's an African proverb, and this is true for tech communities. And I'm going to share the stories about how we get to build effective communities, tech communities in Warri, and I'll use the GDG Warri as a case study. In 2018, I started the Google Developers Group, that is the GDG. Today, the GDG Warri has a membership strength of over 700. You should clap, please. We have a membership strength of over. Okay, the GDG is Google Developers Group. The Google Developers Group is a community of and for software developers, and basically tech enthusiasts that are actually interested in Google's technologies and APIs. The GDG communities are actually spread around the world, and we happen to be one of the first set of people that actually started the Google Developers chapter in Delta State, starting with the GDG Warri. So one of the things we say in the GDG is that if there is any city in the world where there is no Google Developers chapter in, that means you are actually in a village. So for every major city that you find in the world, there is a Google Developers group, right? The goal around the Google Developers group is to bring tech individuals together for meetups, workshops, and conferences, and just getting to share and inspire one another towards getting to build a vibrant tech community. And as at that time, I'm naturally a shy and introverted person. A lot of people don't believe that, but as at that time, I was more like just this lone guy that was working as a technical writer as at that time for the Free Code Camp. And I used to see a lot of tech events happening around the world. And as at that time, Andela was a hot cake then, right? And there was the 4-loop events happening. And I didn't have my closest interaction the closest experience I could probably have had with getting to participate in this tech events or community would be that I participate through Twitter and just follow the live engagements, right? If, for example, I needed to attend any of that event, that means I have to look for flights or transport money to go to Lagos and then lodge in a hotel. It wasn't just sustainable, so I felt like the best thing we could, if we don't have one in Warri, perhaps we could just start one, right? And one of the things about life is instead of complaining about what is not being done in the city, you can actually start it, right? And so I'll share about how we started the community. So maybe you can help go to the next slide, right? So in getting to build a community, so we're talking about building a vibrant tech community in Warri, right? So you have to understand that every city has their own peculiarities. Interestingly, if we are to mention vibrant people that have actually helped to push the narrative about Warri in the digital space, we don't have a lot of them. Mr. Jollof is at the forefront, right? But if we take off Mr. Jollof from the equation, I don't think we might be able to list up to 20, right? So you have to understand that so we understood that the digital space had not really been captured with respect to the with respect to Warri. So I had to engage, or I had to take an in-person approach towards marketing starting the community, right? So, let's see. So, in building the communities, or in building a tech community specifically for Warri, you have to understand that in-person marketing, and this is my bias, right, is greater than social media marketing. Let's do a quick demo. How many of you have tweeted or posted about this event so far? Yes. Pastor, can you just look at the back, please? All right. So you see, we don't have a lot of people talking about this. So it means that we can be doing so much in the city, but yet we are not projecting it. And I think it's a great disservice at this point to say that even if we are just 50, or let's say, I don't have the number, let's assume we're just 50 persons in this room. Even if we have at least 30 of us just pushing whatever it is we are learning, it means that we are also helping to change the narrative about Warri, right? From what we're learning in Made in Warri. So number one, understand that in Warri, you have to take the message there. So for us, we had to look at, because I didn't know as at that time who the developers were or where they meet, we had to start with campus. And so we started with FUPRE, PTI, and COE, that's College of Education. So you literally had to go to these schools and talk to them about why they should embrace tech and then just join a community. Then secondly, in getting to build a community, you have to understand that you should focus on quality over quantity. And in this case, I mean you are building a community of software developers or tech enthusiasts. It goes beyond just getting to gather people together, right? What is it that they are taking out of that community that you want to build? So what is it that is going to be the lessons that will be learned from today's Made in Warri event? As an example, when Pastor Suberi, for example, was drawing up this program, he had a list of people that he wanted to participate in this event. That is because he was concerned about the quality of their delivery. Those who have actually done the stuffs, and you can actually see the works that they've actually done. So you focus on quality over quantity. Don't bring speakers or individuals that are just filled with just vibes and inshallah, right? And just vibes. Instead, bring the people that have actually done the stuff, and so you know that they're actually speaking or inspiring or talking about what they've actually done. Then we also realize that so in building a community, you have to realize that workshops are actually greater or better than meetups. So workshops here would be that, okay, you have a community, or you want to start a community of, let's say, designers. You've gathered the people. You find out how many of them are actually skilled designers. So how many of them actually know what design is? You realize that not a lot of them actually know that. And then so you have to understand that because of that, having a one-off event like this, which is like a meetup, is not enough to actually impart or push the substance or being able to change narratives. So in that case, we decided to take an approach of getting to organize workshops over meetups. So you can schedule these workshops over weekends, and then you just realize that over time, the person that doesn't even know what programming is all about is able to just keep learning via the workshops, and then they just grow from then. And then you have to also document your events. You are the only one that is in the best position to actually tell your story. So whatever it is that you're doing in getting to build communities, you have to actually document them. Write them on a blog post, just keep documenting and sharing. And you can go to the next slide. So there is a lot that you can learn from that. And there's tremendous benefits. It's documenting whatever it is that you're learning, or rather whatever it is that you're doing with getting to build a community, would in the long run bring partners for the GDG community that we started 6 years ago, and even 6 years ago, for example. We've had competing organizations. Okay, maybe I could shamelessly plug this. It is on record that the GDG Warri, for example, happened to be one of the few developer communities, Google developers community, that had Microsoft coming as a partner. You should clap now. Microsoft would not sponsor a Google event, right? Neither would Facebook want to sponsor, because they are actually competitors. But because we had documented reports, valid blog posts that you can actually verify, they were excited to look beyond being competitors and say, these people are doing an amazing work. Let's partner with them. So that is very key. So if you want to start a community, I'm supposed to share a success story, but I think I'll skip that for now. So the next I'm supposed to talk about, next slide, harnessing global trends in the tech industry to build an effective tech ecosystem in Warri. Again, this topic now, they added it to it. So basically, how do we harness global trends as a person based in Warri and who is a Warri boy? How many of you know Warri Secondary School? I schooled in Warri Secondary School. You should also clap now. And I'm doing amazing things for the city of Warri. Warri is very passionate. I'm very passionate about the city of Warri. And I always say that as a citizen of Nigeria, based in Nigeria, I've never had a job. Let me look at Mr. Jollof. I've never had a job as a citizen of Nigeria, based in Nigeria, after my NYSC. Did I say it again? Huh? Okay, so if you say, which job Charles don't do as a Nigerian citizen from Nigeria, that is to say, I've never had a job, I've never worked for a Nigerian company as a Nigerian citizen, but I've worked with teams around the world. So it's one day I sat with a team. One day I was looking at a team I was working with, and so I saw the profile. Yale University, Stanford University, Harvard, MIT. So, I had to pinch myself. I said, oh boy, where will call you go? If now by just certificate, or like Dr. Shegun said, an Abraka certificate, I'm not supposed to be in their midst. So why did I say that? It means that whether we are here in Warri or not, we can actually compete with we can actually work with global teams and actually bring in good resources into the States. So I'll leave it there, right? I hope you understand what I mean by that. So in getting to talk about global brands, you have to realize that if you have access to the internet, one of the first things, or one of the major things you should take away from this, I'm looking at the time. So one of the things you should take away from this is that if you have access to the internet, you're automatically a cyber citizen, right? That means there is no restriction or limitation to what you can actually do by virtue of the internet and what you can actually become, right? Among my contemporaries, for example, I'm the only one who is still in Warri, and I've said to my best friend left some few weeks ago. He relocated finally, and I said, we've invested. Warri is very dear to me, and I say to him and those in my circle that we've invested too much. I've invested too much in the city of Warri to just leave the city like that. Do you get? And I'm doing amazingly well for myself, right? So number one, understand that your access to the internet automatically makes you a cyber citizen. This means that you have access to global trends irrespective of your location. And in getting to our next global, so you are also competing with a global talent pool. What this means is that you have to consciously follow the leading trends, right, in getting to position yourself. And then you can go to the next slide. You have to understand that to play in the global scene, you are actually committing to a life of lifelong learning. Just like Dr. Chegun said earlier on, what you studied in school, I don't know where my NYC certificate is. It's in my house. I don't know where I schooled in Uniport and University of Benin. I don't know where they are. Sometimes we need to fill forms and I start looking for them. I don't know where they are. But by virtue of the fact that you have access to the internet, you can literally change and transform your life. So it's a call to lifelong learning. If we actually want to say, let's compete with the global talent pool as Warri men and women, right? So we have to commit to lifelong learning. Then something I also do at the end of every year is, so you have to also follow the trend. So personally for me, at the end of the year, as the year comes to an end, or every quarter, you find out what's actually trending or where is the direction of the industry. Can you go to the next slide? Next slide, okay. So what's the direction of the industry? That is how you position yourself, right? So you have to follow the trend, what's trending, and then I'm just going to read here. So I have some senior friends, senior mentors that I communicate with. Had the opportunity, my mentors basically. So at the end of every year, probably we'll just talk about what's the trend, what should we be focusing on right now, and towards the end of the year, I sent this message to them like, what's that one thing that you think one can learn for 2024? This was at the beginning of the year, and Alice Pitu says generative AI. Because of the timing, okay. So go to the next slide. Can you see the slide? Okay. So I'm going to read the next one. Alice Pitu said generative AI. That's AI, right? Quincy Larson, the Free Code Camp founder, said that you should focus on Python, right? Because it is a language that is used for ML and data science. Again, you find artificial intelligence there, right? And then another senior friend, Casey Aito, has said this, and I'm going to read his. He said, I'm not sure anyone would do that. Okay, one skill. So how do you stay relevant, right? And then he said this. He said these days companies are looking for complete package, someone who can really move the needle, and that requires more leadership skills, that inspires team to execute and get things done. All the other skills are just job requirements that will help you compete with the 100,000 people with the same skill sets, right? The key to standing out is, in my opinion, to really build a circle of people who can help you get to where you want to be and make sure you represent yourself as more than any other person. So, this part has already been captured. That is the collaboration that they both talked about, right? So beyond the skill, you have to have a very strong network. And then some other few things that you could even look at in getting to position yourself or getting to see the direction that the industry is going to. You could explore just a few examples: blockchain technology. For example, there are less than 5,000 smart contract developers around the world, right? So if just 10% of people here decide to become a smart contract developer, it means that you are still strategically positioned to be among one of the most highly sought over smart contract developers in the world. There is artificial intelligence. Programming would forever remain an evergreen skill. So when we even talk about AI, it is still programmers that will still write the codes that will power or artificial intelligence systems, right? And you also get to talk about who is sharing your story. Okay, just a few seconds. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, just like one more slide. All right, so in getting to build tech startups, I think I'm supposed to share about how you build tech startups, but I think I'm going to skip that maybe some other time. And then I'll leave with just one more quote. So I heard something from Kelechi Amadiobi. How many of you know Kelechi Amadiobi? He's a photographer. Yes. But you can't, to bring Kelechi Amadi to even be in this place safe, let me say your money long. So Kelechi Amadi said something, I'm going to round up with this. He said that the more difficult an endeavor is, the more he is convinced that he is limiting the number of people that can compete against him. So if we want to build a city, as in Warri, to be a global city, that means we have to commit to getting to take up hard stuff and do hard and difficult things, because just like he said again about consistency, it's easy to register at the gym, right? See whether you go feel do them for 30 days straight. Your body go tell you bet. So a lot of people gas out or fizzle out. Let me round up by saying this story. When I first got into technical writing, so Pastor, just this final one. When I got into technical writing, I was writing, and so I joined the Free Code Camp. The Free Code Camp as a writer and editor. So the guy wasn't, as a volunteer, a lot of people didn't even know that, as at that time I was just a volunteer writer for the Free Code Camp. And I was the only African on the team, so it was just a bragging right. I'm the only African on the Free Code Camp team. So one of my close friends, childhood friends, one day came to visit me. I said, I'm working for this guy, Quincy Larson. He's an American. He now said, how much did they pay you? So I'm going to say it the way he said it to me. I now said, you know, they pay me anything, no? He looked at me, head to toe, look at my shoe, shook his head, and said, Kai! Instead of you to they play Oyibo wayo, Oyibo, they play you wayo. And he walked away. But my decision to actually work with the Free Code Camp as a volunteer is perhaps the proudest decision I ever made in my life. And it changed the trajectory. So if we actually want to do good things, want to change the narrative in Warri, then we should commit to getting to do difficult things. So, and just because we are in Warri, I have to round up in our normal language. If one person cook for community, Mr. Jollof, community will finish and la. But if the whole community say they won't cook for Mr. Jollof, you go fit chop and finish. No, fit chop and finish. So thank you very much for for having me. It's such a great honor to be here.